guys, it's Zoe. Today I'm going to be doing an updated bookshelf tour. The last one I did was at the end of 2017. The reason I'm doing one now, about halfway through 2018 instead of at the end of 2018, is because I got 4 new bookshelves back here. The last video I posted was me building them and reorganizing all of the books, so I figured why not do a bookshelf tour at the same time, because there's at least 100 more books than in the last bookshelf tour. I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of the direction I'm going in through the bookshelves, and then we'll get right into the bookshelf tour. I hope you guys enjoy. It's really overcast right now, but you'll get the general idea. I'm starting in the back left corner and working my way around the shelves over to here and finishing off on the shelf right here that's standing by itself. This shelf starts with non-fiction, mostly textbooks, as well as some general non-fiction. On the first shelf there is my first Owl Crate box that I ever got, The Rhetorical Tradition by Patricia Bizzell and Bruce Hertzberg, an anthology of Canadian literature in English, edited by Donna Bennett and Russell Brown, Learning and Behavior by James E. Mazur, possibly Mazur, and for some reason a copy of the Driver's Ed Handbook. I think this is my brother's, and I think I stole it from him. Political Communication and American Campaigns by Joseph S. Tuman, American Political Parties and Elections by L. Sandy Maisel. No one was shocked when the history portion mentioned Hamilton. The Political Brain by Drew Weston, A Mighty Fortress, A New History of the German People by Stephen Osmond, The World of the Ancient Greeks by John Camp and Elizabeth Fisher, Literature, A World of Writing by David L. Pike and Anna M. Acosta, The Norton Anthology of English Literature, The Middle Ages, Volume A, Volume B, The 16th Century and the Early 17th Century, Volume C, The Restoration and the 18th Century, Volume E, Literature since 1945, not 100% sure where Volume D is, Critical Theory Since Plato by Hazard Adams and Leroy Searle, and finishing off this shelf, The Penguin Book of Modern British Stories, edited by Malcolm Bradbury. On the next shelf I have a Chocolate Frog from Universal Studios, I think? Nope, that is from the Warner Brothers Studio Tour in London, England. This shelf is just general non-fiction, and it starts with 15 Days by Christy Blatchford, I Am That Woman by Vanessa Shields, a local poet, The Little Big Things by Tom Peters. I never actually ordered this book. Book Depository just sent me the wrong book and they said I could keep this one, mostly because it's damaged, but now I have a book about business management if I ever decide that tickles my fancy. A Brief Message from Your Local Train. Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. Whoops. Detroit doesn't want to be here. Let's try again. Detroit, An American Autopsy by Charlie LaDuff. Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. And finally, Hamilton the Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy, wow, why is that such a difficult name for me right now? Jeremy McCarter. Oh, that was difficult. The next shelf down is a little bit more general non-fiction, and then my language and general linguistics textbooks. The first book on this shelf is Tender in the Age of Fury by Brandon Pitts. Did you know? The Bathroom Reader for Kids Only by Bathroom Readers Institute. Pretty sure this is one of my little cousin's books that I've acquired in some unknown way. The D textbook by Cracked. I feel like that's a collective group of authors. Don't really know who wrote it, but it was edited by Jack O'Brien. The Complete Hockey Dictionary, edited by Andrew Podmeeks, I think. This was actually a Christmas present for my brother that he left at home. So, Lizanne, I know you'll see this, he probably won't, but let's try and remember to give this back to him because I really don't want a hockey dictionary on my shelves. Maybe I'll re-gift it to Curtis, but he's probably gonna see this too, so that's probably a bad plan. A Butler's Guide to Entertaining by Nicholas Clayton. What better place to get a guide for entertaining and etiquette than from Buckingham Palace, which is where I got this little gem. Will Not Attend by Adam Resnick. How We Fare by Marianne Mulhern. Fun fact, I took a publishing course, and this is the book that I helped edit and publish along with Haley from Haley and Bookland. Uh-oh. The World at Her Fingertips, The Story of Helen Keller by Joan Dash, an English to Greek and Greek to English dictionary, The Ultimate French Review and Practice, Taman Eins. I don't know where the other book for this one is, or where Taman Zwei is. They're somewhere, but I have the rest of the series. The Sicher Arbeitsbuch and Kursbuch at the level B1 Plus. The one in black and white is the workbook, and the one in color is the course book. German Conversation, German Demystified, The Blue Book of Grammar and Pronunciation by Jane Strauss, Lester Kaufman and Tom Stern. Kaufman, Stern. Perfect English Grammar by Grant Barrett, A Glossary of Literary Terms by M.H. Abrams and Jeffrey Galt Hartman, The Oxford Dictionary of Literary Terms by Chris Baldick, it's a dick, Stylistics by Paul Simpson, Techniques and Principles in Language Teaching by Diane Larson Freeman and Marty Anderson, and finally, Making Communicative Language Teaching Happen by James F. Lee and Bill Van Patten. The bottom two shelves are the only empty shelves I have right now, and to fill that space I put two different fairy loot boxes. The two half-size bookcases next to the first skinny bookcase is where I have fantasy books. Directly above them is the TV, which means this is what everyone has to stare at when they're watching TV. Fantasy is my favorite genre, so of course I would want to make everyone stare at that when they're trying to watch TV. Starting off with the shelf on the left, I have fantasy series that are completed and that I have all of the books for, as well as a little fake flower that I think I got from HomeSense or something like that. The first series is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters. For those of you who are new to my channel, I have a thing about collecting different book covers, so no, I will not be getting rid of any duplicates that I may have. Next, I have the Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien. Yes, I know The Hobbit technically isn't part of the trilogy. It's more of a prequel, so I'm just gonna keep it there. This starts with The Hobbit, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, The Return of the King. These... Whoa, come on. No! Stop it. If you haven't guessed by how beat up some of these are, The Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite series and I've read them quite a few times. Next I have the Queen of the Tearling trilogy by Erica Johansson, The Queen of the Tearling, The Invasion of the Tearling, and The Fate of the Tearling. Next I have the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Next is the His Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman, The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. Finishing out this row, I have the Silverwing trilogy by Kenneth Oppel, Silverwing, Sunwing, and Firewing. Now that I think about it though, I think there is another book in this series, so it might not actually be allowed to stay on this shelf. I hope I'm wrong, because I don't want to shuffle things around. The shelf to the right continues the series that are finished and that I have all of the books for, and starts series that are incomplete either because the last books aren't out yet or I just don't have them. And there is a matching fake flower thing on this side. This shelf starts with the Selection series by Kiera Cass, The Selection, The Elite, The One, The Heir, and The Crown. Next is the Snow Like Ashes trilogy by Sarah Rosh, Snow Like Ashes, Ice Like Fire, and Frost Like Night. The Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard, Red Queen, Glass Sword, and King's Cage. The Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin, A Game of Thrones, A Feast for Crows, A Storm of Swords, A Clash of Kings, and A Dance with Dragons. The Seven Realms series by Cinda Williams Chima, The Demon King, The Exiled Queen, and The Grey Wolf Throne. And finally on this shelf is the Immortal series by Alison Noel, Evermore, Blue Moon, and Shadowland. Directly below the shelf, the series that I have that aren't complete for whatever reason continues, with Hermione Granger on the right, and you can't really see it, but her wand is on the left side of the shelf. I am going completely backwards here, but since I'm kind of snaking through these shelves, I just gotta roll with it. We're going right to left here. This is weird for me. Anyways, this shelf starts with, but really kind of ends with, the Queens of Renthia series by Sarah Beth Durst, The Queen of Blood, and The Reluctant Queen. The Witchland series by Susan Dennard, Truth Witch and Wind Witch. The Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks, The Black Prism and The Blinding Knife. The Nevernight Chronicle by Jay Kristoff, Nevernight Evernight and God's Grave, the 7 Black Diamond series by Melissa Marr, 7 Black Diamonds and 1 Blood Ruby, the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, the Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, and Tower of Dawn. Rounding out this shelf is the Queen's Thief series by Megan Whalen Turner, The Thief and the Queen of Atolia. The next shelf to the left finishes off these series that are not completed and starts off more series that aren't completed, but this next batch of series that aren't completed are ones that I only have 1 book from the series. I said series a lot right there, so we're just gonna move on. On this shelf, I have Draco Malfoy in the left corner along with a Slytherin crest, and on the right side is Draco's wand that's pointing towards Hermione's wand. Yes, this was deliberate. I ship Hermione so hard, so I had to have them paired up somehow on my shelves. Continuing this right to left motion from the last shelf, this shelf starts off with the Frostblood series by Ellie Blake, Frostblood and Fireblood. Fun fact, Ellie Blake is a local author. Next is the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, Shadow and Born, wow, not it, Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm. That was difficult. The 3 Dark Crowns series by Kendara Blake, 3 Dark Crowns and 1 Dark Throne, the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa, the Iron King and the Iron Daughter, the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, and City of Fallen Angels, the Old Kingdom series, wow, okay, by Garth Nix, Sabriel, Lyriel, and Abhorsen, who clearly does not want to be here right now. Next are the series where I only have 1 book, and this starts with The Gypsy King by Maureen Fergus, Magonia by Maria Devana Headley, Anti-Goddess by Kendara Blake, Seraphina and the Black Cloak by Robert Beatty, Assassin's Heart by Sarah Ahirs, A Shadow Bright and Burning by Jessica Cluas, An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir, and finally The Oathbreaker Shadow by Amy McCullough. On the next shelf down, I can finally start going left to right again. This shelf continues fantasy series where I only have 1 book, or only the first book is out. This one starts with The Last Name Sarah by Kristen Ciccarelli, Immortal City by Scott Speer, Reawakened by Colleen Hook, Sea of Shadows by Kelly Armstrong, Talon by Julie Kagawa, The Young Elite by Marie Lu, Shadowfell by Juliette Marillier, The Glass Spare by Lauren DiStefano, 2 copies of Everlist by Sarah Holland, The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch, The Dragon's Path by Daniel Abraham, A Book of Spirits and Thieves by Morgan Rhodes, oh, the sun came out, awesome, The Naming by Alison Krogan, Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, The Bloodprint by Ozma Zahnat Khan, The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, Deep Blue by Jennifer Donnelly, The Stars Never Rise by Rachel Vinson, Rebel Bell by Rachel Hawkins, and finally The Bells by Danielle Clayton. The next shelf finishes the fantasy genre with the last of the books where I only have the first one or only the first one's out, as well as some fantasy standalones. This shelf starts with Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks, which is actually supposed to be pronounced Shannara, but even Terry Brooks realized that that sounds kind of ridiculous. Caraval by Stephanie Garber, The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye, Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonneau, The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien, Stray by Alyssa Sussman, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by Jack Thorne, The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo, Dancing Jacks by Robin Jarvis, Firebringer by David Clement Davies, Watership Down by Richard Adams, The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton, Long May She Reign by Rhiannon Thomas, The Wizard, the Witch, and Two Girls from Jersey by Lisa Papadimitriou, Stardust by Neil Gaiman, Salt and Storm by Kendall Culper, and finally 2 copies of The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. The next shelf to the right starts with my Harry Potter shelves. On the top of those I have the box that the one set came in. Below that I have the first of my Harry Potter shelves. In front I have the Harry Potter edition of Trivial Pursuit. This shelf isn't wide enough to hold all 7 books at once face out, but the ones on this shelf are the original UK children's edition covers. If for whatever reason you don't know by now, the books are Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is missing right now because my mother's reading it, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Next, I have the pop-up gallery of curiosities, which has pop-ups such as this one from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, as well as others from the other Harry Potter movies, as well as the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them movie. Next, I have the illustrated version of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander. Finally, I have Harry Potter: A History of Magic, which is the companion to the exhibition at the British Library. The shelf below this one has the house editions of the Philosopher's Stone, as well as another special edition of the Philosopher's Stone. In front, I have a map that came with a wand from Universal Studios, as well as the Snape Funko and 2 Harry Potter Game Boy games. In the front of the third and final Harry Potter shelf is another map from a wand box from Universal Studios. There is yet another train coming, but this shelf starts with the 3 illustrated editions of Harry Potter that are out now. These 3 are the Philosopher's Stone, the Chamber of Secrets, and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Next, there is a copy of Quidditch Through the Ages by Kenilworthy Wisp. And finally, I have the series in the 2014 UK Children's Edition. I'm not gonna name all of them because I literally just did that. The next shelf starts off the classic section. The first books are the Oxford editions. They start with The Trial by by Franz Kafka, Villette by Charlotte Bronte, Lyrical Ballads by William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, She by H. Rider Haggard, Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe, and that rhymes, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. That really should have been next to Villette, but it's not, so we're gonna correct that right now. Dracula by Bram Stoker, Part 1 of Faust by Goethe, and Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. The next books are the Penguin Classics editions, and they start with The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte, Oliver Twist, again by Charles Dickens, Lazarillo de Tormes, an anonymous work, and The Swindler by Francisco de Quevedo, Cavalleria Rusticana and Other Stories by Giovanni Verga, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway, Moby Dick by Herman Melville, Lucy by Jamaica Kincaid, and finally By Night in Chile by Roberto Bolaño. The next shelf continues the classics, starting with The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, and The Last Battle. Okay. The Lord of the Flies by William Golding, The Light Princess by George MacDonald. I totally forgot about this one. The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. The Sleeping Lord and in parenthesis by David Jones. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. In Memoriam by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Not entirely sure where the dust jacket is for this one. It's gotta be somewhere. Peter Pan. Almost. Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, another copy of Dracula by Bram Stoker, Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery, That Summer in Paris by Morley Callahan, and finally Skin and Other Stories and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. A lot of people pronounce it as Roald Dahl. I pronounced it as Roald Dahl for a very long time until I looked it up and found that I was wrong. The bottom shelf of this bookcase continues with classics, Aristotle's Rhetoric, The Odyssey of Homer, translated by Richard Lattimore, Plato's The Republic, Faust Parts 1 and 2 by Goethe, Michael Kohlhaas by Heinrich von Kleist, Charlotte's Web and Stuart Little, both by E.B. White, The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, Beloved by Toni Morrison, The Color Purple by Alice Walker, Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, 2 copies of The Awakening by Kate Chopin, A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and finally 2 copies of Dante's Inferno. Classics continue to the bookcase on the right of the last one, but they are on the bottom. The classic shelves were here, and they continue over here, with 3 mini Shakespeare books in the front. The 3 books are Love Sonnets of Shakespeare, The Complete Plays in One Sitting, and The Bard's Guides to Abuses and Affronts. This shelf starts with The Beauty and the Beast by Gabrielle Suzanne Barbeau de Villeneuve, The Complete Collection of The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Each book contains 3 of the original Wizard of Oz stories. Next are various plays by Shakespeare, Cymbeline, King Lear, Macbeth, Measure for Measure, The Merchant of Venice, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, The Taming of the Shrew, Titus Andronicus, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, and The Winter's Tale. The Norton Shakespeare, which comes in at a whopping 3,420 pages. Homer's Iliad. Rounding out this classic shelf are personal classics, 3 of my high school yearbooks. On the next shelf up on the left side finishes out the classics. The classics on this shelf are all Wizard of Oz books, starting with the annotated Wizard of Oz, The Emerald City of Oz, Lucky Bucky in Oz, which is not one of the original stories. This one is by John R. Neal, and Rinky Tink in Oz. The Royal Book of Oz, The Silver Princess in Oz, another one that is not one of the original stories. This one is by Ruth Plumley Thompson, The Patchwork Girl of Oz, and Ozma of Oz. These are all probably second editions from the 1930s, I believe. The rest of this shelf will come later. I'm gonna start at the top of this bookcase and work my way down to the rest of this shelf. The classic section got a little funky just because it didn't fit all on the one side, so it kind of spilled over into the next bookcase, if that makes any sense at all. Along the top of my original 3 bookshelves, I have my Zoe doll that I've had my entire life, and a bunch of different giraffes, as well as a bear that has a dress that says Zoe on it, but you can only see her butt right now, a hat that I've had my entire life, as well as a Harry Potter puzzle and a wizard's chess set. At the top of the first shelf, I have Rapunzel and Pascal. This shelf starts off Retellings, Fairy Tale, and otherwise. Queen of Hearts, Blood of Wonderland, and War of the Cards by Colleen Oakes. Splintered by A.G. Howard, Heartless by Marissa Meyer, Cinder by Marissa Meyer, Geekerella by Ashley Poston, Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Basherdoost, The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine, Spindle by E.K. Johnston, Lost in a Book by Jennifer Donnelly, Hunted by Megan Spooner, A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, Dorothy Must Die, The Wicked Will Rise, Yellow Brick War, and The End of Oz by Danielle Page, Wicked and Son of a Witch by Gregory Maguire. The one on the left is the Barnes & Noble edition. Finishing off this shelf is Winter Song by S.J. Jones. The next shelf has retellings as well as historical fiction. And in front of the books I have Dobby, Wonder Woman Warbringer by Lee Bardugo, Stalking Jack the Ripper and Hunting Prince Jackula by Carrie Maniscalco, Strands of Bronze and Gold and Merc in the Midnight Hour by Jane Nickerson, A Study in Charlotte and The Last of August by Brittany Cavallaro, This Season by Jonah Lisa Dyer and Stephen Dyer, Roseblood by A.G. Howard, Black Hearts by Nicole Casterman, Dark Breaks the Dawn by Sarah B. Larson, Trader Angels by Anne Blankman, Stealing Snow by Danielle Page, Avalon High by Meg Cabot, Speak Easy, Speak Love by Mikkel George, Alex and Eliza by Melissa De La Cruz, My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton and Jody Meadows, Scarlet by A.C. Gone, Everland by Wendy Spinali, The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, Walk on Earth a Stranger by Ray Carson, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee, Ladies in Waiting by Laura L. Sullivan, and finally Dead Wake by Eric Larson. The next shelf continues with historical fiction, and in the left corner is Ron Weasley, and in the right corner is Harry Potter. Etiquette and Espionage, Curtsies and Conspiracies, Waistcoats and Weaponry, and Manners and Mutiny by Gail Carriger, Soulless, Changeless, Blameless, Heartless, and Timeless, also by Gail Carriger, Prudence and Imprudence by Gail Carriger, The Lux and Rumors by Anna Godberson, Finishing Becca, An Acquaintance with Darkness, A Break with Charity, Keep Smiling Through, Hang a Thousand Trees with Ribbons, and The 5th of March by Anne Rinaldi, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne, The Friday Society by Adrian Kress, Troy by Adele Jarris, and finally Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. The next shelf finishes off historical fiction and starts the mystery thriller genre. On this shelf I have Dumbledore, The Spy Mistress by Jennifer Chiaverini, Fall of Giants by Ken Follett, Wolf by Ryan Groudon, The Valiant by Leslie Livingston, Guilt by Catherine Longshore, Under a Painted Sky by Stacey Lee, Ink and Bone by Rachel Kane, The Kingdom of Little Wounds by Suzanne Kokel, The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman, A Great and Terrible Beauty, Rebel Angels, and The Sweet Far Thing by Libba Bray, Love, Lies, and Spies by Cindy Anstey, and I really don't know why this is down here and not, wow, up with the retellings, Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. The next section starts the mystery, thriller, suspense genre with The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, 419 by Will Ferguson, I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zuzak, Broken Monsters by Lauren Bukes, Daughter of Deep Silence by Carrie Ryan, Twisted Fate by Nora Olson, Full Ride by Margaret Peterson Haddix, One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus, and finally on this shelf, If You're Lucky by Yvonne Prince. And with the next shelf, we've now come full circle to where the classic section finished off. The last of this genre starts with The Conspiracy of Us by Maggie Hall, The Tenderness of Thieves by Donna Freitas, The Innocents by Lily Peliquin, Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, People Like Us by Dana Meal, and finally on this shelf is my Dan Brown collection, Digital Fortress, Deception Point, Angels and Demons, The Da Vinci Code, the Barnes & Noble Collector's Edition of The Da Vinci Code and The Lost Symbol, Inferno, and Origin. The next bookcase to the right starts off my contemporary collection. On the right side of the shelf in front of the books, I have Olaf, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, Since You've Been Gone, Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, Second Chance Summer, and The Unexpected Everything, all by Morgan Matson, Being Audrey Hepburn by Mitchell Kriegman, The Wrong Side of Right by Jen Marie Thorne, It's All Your Fault by Paul Rudnick, Open Road Summer by Emery Lord, Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between by Jennifer E. Smith, 26 Kisses by Anna Michaels, Someone Else's Life by Katie Dale, Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills, Those Girls by Lauren Zaft, Better Than Perfect by Melissa Cantor, Broken Hearts, Fences, and Other Things to Mend by Katie Finn, The Loose Ends List by Carrie Firestone, Rules for 50-50 Chances by Kate McGovern, Little Black Dresses, Little White Lies by Laura Stampler, Getting Revenge on Lauren Wood by Eileen Cook, The Romantics by Leah Conan, Trouble is a Friend of Mine by Stephanie Tromley, Hello Sunshine by Layla Howland, The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, The Anatomical Shape of a Heart by Jen Bennett, and finally on this shelf, I See London, I See France by Sarah Mlinowski. Like the fantasy section, this one kind of snakes through two different bookcases. So this is the top shelf of the bookcase to the right of the last one, and this one starts with My Life Next Door and The Boy Most Likely To by Huntley Fitzpatrick, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, Romancing the Throne by Nadine Jolie Courtney, Love and Other Trainwrecks by Leah Conan, which really should be next to The Romantics, but I'll switch that out later, Wild Awake by Hilary T. Smith, Liberty by Andrea Ports, Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, Words in Deep Blue by Kath Crowley, Yet Another Train but Like It Never Happened by Emily Adrian, Joyride by Anna Banks, Infinite In Between by Carolyn Mackler, Flirting in Italian and Kissing in Italian by Lauren Henderson, Stella by Helen Eve, Future Perfect by Jen Larson, A Matter of Heart by Amy Fellner Dominy, Six Impossible Things by Fiona Wood, Escaping Perfect by Emma Harrison, First There Was Forever by Juliana Romano, Cherry by Lindsay Rosen, Reunited by Hilary Weissman Graham, Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and finally on this shelf, The Wonder of Us by Kim Culbertson. The next shelf down continues with contemporary, and in front I have a giraffe mug that has a little giraffe in it. This hurts just as much as it did with the fantasy shelves, but I'm going right to left to continue this snaking motion. God, I hate snakes. The first book on this shelf is Not That I Care by Rachel Vale, She's So Dead to Us, He's So Not Worth It, and This Is So Not Happening by Kieran Scott, Princess Diaries, Princess in Pink, Princess in Waiting, Princess in Love, Princess in the Spotlight, and Princess in Training by Meg Cabot, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, The Second Summer of the Sisterhood, Girls in Pants, The Third Summer of the Sisterhood, and Forever in Blue, The Fourth Summer of the Sisterhood by Anne Brashares, I'd Tell You I Love You But Then I'd Have to Kill You, Cross My Heart and Hope to Spy, Don't Judge a Girl by Her Cover, 2 copies of Only the Good Spy Young, Out of Sight, Out of Time, and United We Spy by Allie Carter, The Lying Game, Never Have I Ever, and 2 Truths and a Lie by Sarah Shepard, Pretty Little Liars, Flawless, Perfect, Unbelievable, Wicked, Killer, Heartless, Wanted, and Twisted by Sarah Shepard. Continuing on to the shelf on the left, I have more contemporary, In the left corner, I have Maurice, the first giraffe I ever got, and on the right corner, I have Jose, Revenge of the Girl with a Great Personality by Elizabeth Eulberg, City Love and Lost in Love by Suzanne Colasanti, Secrets of My Hollywood Life, On Location, and Family Affairs by Jen Calanito, Confessions of a Triple Shot Betty by Jody Gurman, Falling in Love with English Boys by Melissa Jensen, Anna and the French Kiss and Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins, Manderley Prep, Rich Girl and the Guy Next Door by Carol Culver, Shut Out by Cody Keplinger. I also have The Duff, but a friend is borrowing that one right now. The Possibility of Fireflies by Dominique Paul, In or Out, Loves Me Not, and Sweet and Vicious by Claudia Gable, Heat of the Moment by Lauren Barnholt, Oh You Pretty Things by Shanna Mahan, Proof of Forever by Lexa Hillier, Bass Ackwards and Belly Up by Elizabeth Kraft and Sarah Fain, Confessions of a Boyfriend Stealer by Robin Clairday, The Boyfriend List and The Boy Book by E. Lockhart, The Carrie Wow. The Carrie Diaries and Summer in the City by Candace Bushnell, The Lonely Hearts Club by Elizabeth Eulberg, Poser, The Good, the Fab, and the Ugly by Rachel Maud. I had the first book at one point, but I lost that a long time ago. By Your Side and The Fill-In Boyfriend by Casey West, Wanderlost by Jen Malone, Royally Lost by Angie Stanton, The Upper Class and Miseducated by Hobson Brown, Taylor Materne, and Caroline Says. Finishing off this shelf is The Promise of Amazing by Robin Constantine. The next shelf has two of my longest contemporary series, and in front there is a giraffe bobblehead. The first series is the Private series by Kate Bryan. The two prequels are The Book of Spells and Last Christmas, and the series starts with Private, Invitation Only, Untouchable, Confessions, Inner Circle, Legacy, Ambition, Revelation, Paradise Lost, Suspicion, Scandal, Vanished, Ominous, and Vengeance. I lied, there are three series on this shelf. The next one is a spin-off of Private. This is the Privilege series. Privilege, Beautiful Disaster, Perfect Mistake, and Sweet Deceit. The next series is The Click by Lacey Harrison. Charmed and Dangerous, The Click, Best Friends for Never. My God, I knew that was gonna happen. These books would follow. These are some of the cattiest girls in contemporary. Revenge of the Wannabes, Invasion of the Boy Snatchers, The Pretty Committee Strikes Back, Dial L for Loser, It's Not Easy Being Mean, Sealed with a Diss, the 5 Click Summer Collection books, Massey, Dylan, Alicia, Kristen, and Claire, Bratfest at Tiffany's, P.S. I Loathe You, Boys R Us, My Little Phony, These Boots Are Made for Stalking, and finally, A Tale of Two Pretties. Turns out I lied again, and there are 4 series on this shelf. This is a spin-off of The Click. This is the Alpha series, Alphas and Movers and Fakers. Contemporary continues on the next shelf. This is almost the end of contemporary. This shelf starts with the It Girl series by Cicely von Ziegler. The It Girl, Notorious, Reckless, Unforgettable, Lucky, Tempted, Infamous, Adored, Devious, and Classic. Gossip Girl, You Know You Love Me, and All I Want Is Everything by Cicely von Ziegler. Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging. On the Bright Side, I'm Now the Girlfriend of a Sex God, Knocked Out by My Nunga Nungas, Dancing in My Nudie Pants, Away Laughing on a Fast Camel, Then He Ate My Boy Entrancers, and Startled by His Furry Shorts by Louise Renison, Famous in Love and Truly Madly Famously by Rebecca Searle, Those Girls by Sarah Lawrence, The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, The Infinite Moment of Us by Lauren Miracle, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, Art Geeks and Prom Queens by Alison Noel, The Disreputable History of Frankie Landau Banks by E. Lockhart, Just Listen by Sarah Dessen, Hacking Harvard by Robin Wasserman, True Confessions of a Hollywood Starlet by Lola Douglas, Hold Still and Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour, How My Summer Went Up in Flames by Jennifer Salvato Doktorsky, Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch, and finally on the shelf, Don't Even Think About It by Sarah Mlinowski. The last of the contemporary continues in the middle bookshelf with Also Known As and Going Rogue by Robin Benway, Pretty Tough by Liz Tigalar, Through to You by Lauren Barnholt, To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han, Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson, Top 8 by Katie Finn, How to Ditch Your Fairy by Justine Larabaleister, Bras and Broomsticks and Frogs and French Kisses by Sarah Mlynowski, The Allison Rules by Catherine Clark, All American Girl by Meg Cabot, The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger, and finally The Angels Trilogy by Lurleen McDaniel. The books in this volume are Angels Watching Over Me, Lifted Up by Angels, and Until Angels Close My Eyes. The rest of this shelf is my collection of middle grade books, starting with Slam by Walter Dean Myers. Slam! Poetry, A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, The Bad Beginning, The Reptile Room, The Wide Window, The Miserable Mill, The Austere Academy, The Ersatz Elevator, The Vile Village, The Hostile Hospital, The Carnivorous Carnival, The Slippery Slope, The Grim Grotto, The Penultimate Peril, and The End, and another copy of The Slippery Slope, The Town That Floated Away by Sandra Birdsell, and finally on the shelf, Getting Near to Baby by Audrey Columbus. On the next shelf down, on the right side, the middle grade section continues with 101 Ways to Bug Your Teacher by Lee Wardlaw, Travel Team by Mike Lupica, The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer, Mr. Monday, Grim Tuesday, Drowned Wednesday, and Sir Thursday by Garth Nix, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, and Then Again Maybe I Won't by Judy Blume, and finishing off the middle grade section, Shipwreck, Survival, and Escape by Gordon Corman. Now starting from the left of the shelf is the supernatural and paranormal section, starting with Night Runner by Max Turner, Pretty Little Devils by Nancy Holder, A Certain Slant of Light by Laura Whitcomb, Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins, Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer, Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver, The Rosemary Spell by Virginia Zimmerman, The Strange Power, The Possessed, and The Passion, bound up into Dark Visions by L.J. Smith, The Fallen, The Stolen, and The Chosen, bound up into The 9 Lives of Chloe King by Liz Braswell, The Power of Two, Building a Mystery, Seeing is Deceiving, Dead Wrong, Don't Think Twice, Double Jeopardy, and Kindred Spirits by H.B. Gilmore and Randy Reisfeld. This genre continues on the shelf below with Vampire Academy, Frostbite, and Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead, Marked, Betrayed, Chosen, Untamed, Hunted, Tempted, Burned, Awakened, Destined, and Hidden by PC Cast and Kristen Cast, Wake and Fade by Lisa McMahon, Embrace by Jessica Shervington, Strange Angels by Lily St. Croix, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, Marie Antoinette, Serial Killer by Katie Allender, Bad Girls Don't Die by Katie Allender, Crossing Over by Anna Kendall, Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick, Conversion by Catherine Howe, Illusions of Fate by Kirsten White, The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike, and finally The Art of Wishing by Lindsay Rybar. The fourth shelf down on the far right bookcase, directly underneath the contemporary shelves, is my sci-fi section, including dystopian. On the far left, I have a Mockingjay pin. In the middle is Baby Groot, and on the right is an Indigo gift card box. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. I Am Number 4 by Pittacus Lore. Not sure where that dust jacket is either. Warcross by Marie Lu. Gone, Hunger, and Lies by Michael Grant. Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and Ignite Me by Tahara Mafi. The Secret Under My Skin and The Raintree Rebellion by Janet McNaughton. The Cage by Megan Shepard. The Fifth Wave and the Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey. The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Matched and Crossed by Ali Condi. Divergent by Veronica Roth. Deadly Design by Deborah Doctor. And finally, The Declaration by Gemma Malley. The next shelf down is the beginning of my TBR. This is all adult fiction that a friend gave me that I need to get around to, and I will one day. On the right side is a clay dog figurine that one of my little cousins made me. 6 Years by Harlan Coben. River's End by Nora Roberts. You Don't Want to Know by Lisa Jackson. Tribute by Nora Roberts. Pretty sure this one is a YA one, but Wake by Amanda Hawking. The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. Stars of Fortune by Nora Roberts. Dance Upon the Air by Nora Roberts. The Witness by Nora Roberts. Daring to Dream, Holding the Dream, and Finding the Dream by Nora Roberts. Morgan's Cross by Surprise, Nora Roberts. Key of Light and Key of Knowledge by Nora Roberts. Roberts, Divine by Choice by not Nora Roberts. Actually, it's by PC Cast. The Woods by Harlan Coben, Hold Tight by Harlan Coben, War of the Wives by Tamar Cohen, A Conspiracy of Faith by Jussi Alder Olsen, Bridget's Quest by PC Cast, Judgment on Delchev by Eric Ambler. Actually, I've read this one. It's for class. Elfame's Choice by PC Cast, Brokeback Mountain by Annie Proulx, another one I've also read for class. Why are they even in there then? Nights of Rain and Stars by Maeve Binchy, and finally Confessions of a Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. The last shelf on the 3 main bookcases that I had before continues my TBR. This is just a hodgepodge of books about writing, fantasy, adult and YA, and some other YA. The Queens of Innis Lear by Tessa Grattan, A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas, King of Ashes by Raymond E. Feist, The Witchwood Crown by Tad Williams, Malice by John Gwynne, City of Lost Souls and City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, Plot Perfect by Paula Mounier, You've Got a Book in You by Elizabeth Sims, Hood by Stephen R. Lawhead, Triple Shot Betty's in Love by Jody Gurman, Royals by Rachel Hawkins, Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli, Love and War by Melissa De La Cruz, The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, I think, The Broken Eye and the Blood Mirror by Brent Weeks, The Dwarves by Marcus Heights, Lady Friday by Garth Nix, Markswoman by Rati Mirotra, The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins, The Riddle by Alison Krogan, New World Rising by Jennifer Wilson, The Golden Bough by James George Fraser, and finally The Writer's Little Helper by James V. Smith Jr. My TBR shelf continues up here and spans the entire length of this last bookcase, starting with The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare and Joshua Lewis, The Guardians of Eastgate by Sherry LeClaire, Tiger's Curse by Colleen Hook, Taken and Frozen by Aaron Bowman, The Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, Paradise Lost by John Milton, Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch, This Side of Home by Renee Watson, Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle, Hounded by Kevin Hearn, The Forgotten, The Departure, The Pretender, The Suspicion, The Separation, and The Illusion by K.A. Applegate, Taliesin by Stephen R. Lawhead, The Raven Boys and the Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. Okay. The A-List, Girls on Film, Tall Cool One, Blonde Ambition, Back in Black, Some Like It Hot, and American Beauty by Zoe Dean. Because I'm Worth It, I Like It Like That, You're the One That I Want, You Are the One I Want, ooh, ooh, ooh. Honey. Nobody Does It Better, Nothing Can Keep Us Together, and Would I Lie to You by Cicely von Ziegler. The Crown's Fate by Evelyn Skye, 2 copies of Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody, The Dark Days Club and The Dark Days Pact by Allison Goodman, Another Train but Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings, Renegades by Marissa Meyer, The Black Witch by Laurie Forrest, Illuminate by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, Love is a Many-Trousered Thing, Stop in the Name of Pants, and Are These My Basumas I See Before Me by Louise Renison, The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, Venom by Fiona Paul, The Alchemists of Loom by Elise Kova, They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, The Art of Getting Stared At by Laura Langston, Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, Seraphina and the Twisted Staff and Seraphina and the Splintered Heart by Robert Beatty, The Sandcastle Empire by Kayla Olson, Scythe by Neil Schusterman, A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston, Prince of Shadows by Rachel Kane, Beyond a Darkened Shore by Jessica Leake, Blonde Ops by Charlotte Bernardo and Natalie Zayman, Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, State of Sorrow by Melinda Salisbury, Ruin and Rising by Lee Bardugo, Memoirs of a Teenage Amnesiac by Gabrielle Zevin, Recreated by Colleen Hook, Natural Born Angel by Scott Spear, Drowning is Inevitable by Shalonda Stanley, Vitro by Jessica Khoury, The Case for Jamie by Brittany Cavallaro, Flamecaster by Cinda Williams-Chima, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, Sweet Evil by Wendy Higgins, The Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead, Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead, Wonderful Feels Like This by Sarah Lovestem, Glitch by Heather Anastasiou, Origin by Jessica Khoury, Bewitching by Alex Flynn, Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard by Rick Riordan, and finally 2 copies of The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Thank God it's done. 800 books later and I'm still not at the end of the bookshelf tour. The actual last 2 books are A Discovery Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, and Blood for Blood by Ryan Groudon. These two I am currently reading, so naturally they wouldn't be anywhere on my shelves, and I'm pretty sure I forgot to leave room for them somewhere, so I'm gonna have to do some shuffling. Yay. I don't know how many books actually fell. I will count while editing and put a total right here. All I know is that it felt like a lot. I didn't like it. With those final 2 books, that really brings me to the end of my mid-year-ish 2018 bookshelf tour. Thank God. There's really nothing else I have to say. Thank you to everyone who made it this far in the bookshelf tour. I'm anticipating this being at least 40 minutes long, so props to you guys for listening to me go on and on for that long. As always, to stay updated with my current reads and how I'm feeling about them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads, all at You're a Book Nerd Zoe, which I will leave linked down in the description box for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful day and get at least a little bit of uninterrupted reading time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I do look like a judge with this hair. Whatever. Whatever, Trevor.